Tonight, we remember a story that changed the world forever. A story not just of suffering, but of a love so deep that it chose pain so others could have peace. This is the story of Good Friday, a day that looked like defeat, but became the greatest victory of all. It is a story of sacrifice, of silence, of sorrow, and of a love that refused to give up. As we step into this moment, let your heart slow down, let your mind be still, and allow yourself to feel the weight and the wonder of what happened on this day. It begins in the quiet of the night, in a place called Gethsemane. The air is still, the sky is dark, and the weight of what is to come presses heavily on Jesus. He walks into the garden, knowing that betrayal is near, knowing that suffering is waiting, knowing that the cross is ahead. And yet, he does not run. Instead, he kneels. In that moment, we see not just the Son of God, but a heart overwhelmed with sorrow. He prays, "Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done." His words are honest, filled with anguish, yet surrendered in obedience. Sweat falls from his face like drops of blood, a sign of the intense burden he carries. This is not just fear of pain, it is the weight of the sins of the world resting upon him. As he rises from prayer, the silence of the garden is broken by the sound of footsteps. Torches flicker in the darkness, and a crowd approaches, soldiers, officials, and among them, a familiar face. Judas, one who walked with him, one who shared meals with him, one who witnessed miracles. And yet, here he comes with betrayal in his heart. He steps forward and greets Jesus with a kiss, a simple gesture, meant to show love, now twisted into a sign of betrayal. In that moment, Jesus is handed over, not by force, but by choice. He does not resist. He does not call for angels. He surrenders, because this is the path he has chosen. For you, for me, for all. They take him away, leading him through the night to face trial after trial. False witnesses speak lies. Accusations are thrown without truth. Mockery fills the air. And through it all, Jesus remains silent. He does not defend himself. He does not argue his innocence, because his mission is not to escape this moment, but to fulfill it. When he stands before Pilate, the governor struggles to find fault in him. "I find no basis for a charge against him," he says. And yet the crowd grows louder. The same voices that once shouted Hosanna now cry out, "Crucify him." It is a heartbreaking reminder of how quickly human hearts can turn. Pilate, caught between justice and pressure, gives in to the crowd. Jesus is sentenced to be crucified. Before the cross, he is handed over to be beaten. The soldiers whip him, each lash tearing into his flesh. Pain beyond words. Blood begins to flow. They mock him, placing a crown of thorns on his head, pressing it down until it pierces his skin. They dress him in a robe, pretending to honor him as a king, only to ridicule him further. They strike him, spit on him, and laugh. The King of Heaven stands there, humiliated, wounded, yet silent. Every moment of suffering is endured with a purpose, love. Then comes the cross. Heavy, rough, and splintered, it is placed upon his shoulders. Already weak from the beating, he begins the walk. Step by step, he carries the weight of the cross through the streets. The crowd watches. Some weep, some mock, some simply stare. He stumbles under the weight, falls to the ground, and yet rises again. This journey is not forced upon him, it's chosen. Every step is taken with you in mind. At the place called Golgotha, the crucifixion begins. They lay him down on the cross and drive nails through his hands and his feet. The sound of the hammer echoes through the air. Pain surges through his body. Then they lift the cross, raising him up between heaven and earth. There he hangs, wounded, bleeding, exposed. And yet, even in this unimaginable suffering, he speaks words that reveal the depth of his love. "Father, forgive them. for they know not what they do. Forgiveness flows from him, even toward those who are causing his pain. Hours pass. The sky grows dark, as if creation itself is mourning. The earth trembles. The weight of the moment is felt in every corner of existence. Jesus, hanging on the cross, carries the full burden of sin. He experiences separation, sorrow, and suffering beyond human understanding. And then, with his final strength, he cries out, "It is finished." These words are not a cry of defeat, but a declaration of victory. The work is complete. The price is paid. The sacrifice is enough. He breathes his last, and silence falls. The Son of God has died. The curtain in the temple is torn in two, from top to bottom, opening the way for humanity to come directly to God. What seemed like the end was actually the beginning. The cross, once a symbol of death, becomes a symbol of hope. Good Friday is a day of deep sorrow, but also of incredible love. It reminds us that no matter how far we fall, no matter how broken we feel, we are never beyond the reach of God's grace. Jesus chose the cross, knowing every mistake we would ever make, every failure, every weakness. He said yes. That is love beyond understanding. So as you reflect on this story, let it touch your heart. Let it remind you that you are seen, you are known, and you are deeply loved. The pain of this day is real, but it is not the end of the story, because hope is coming. Light is coming. Resurrection is coming. Keep going. Keep believing. Keep trusting. Your story is still being written. Your purpose is still unfolding. And your best days, in God's hands, are still ahead. And now, we stand at the edge of silence. The cross is no longer carrying his body. The sky has grown still. The crowds have gone home. And all that remains is a quiet, sacred pause. It feels like the end. It feels like hope has been buried, like prayers have gone unanswered, like darkness has won. But listen closely, because even in this silence, God is still speaking. Even in this stillness, God is still moving. Good Friday is not just a story of suffering. It is a story of love that stayed when it could have walked away. Love that chose the cross when it could have chosen comfort. Love that gave everything so we could have life. And maybe tonight, you don't have all the answers. Maybe your heart feels heavy. Maybe your faith feels shaken. Maybe you're standing in your own Friday moment, where things don't make sense, where the pain feels real, and the future feels uncertain. But this story reminds you, silence is not absence, waiting is not wasted, and endings are not always the end. Because beyond this day, beyond the sorrow, beyond the cross, something is coming. Hope is rising. Light is breaking. Love is not finished.
So hold on. Hold on when it's hard. Hold on when it's quiet. Hold on when you can't see what's ahead. Because the same God who is working in the silence of that tomb is working in your life right now. And just like that story, your story is not over. Keep going. Keep believing. Keep trusting. Your story is still being written. Your purpose is still unfolding. And your best days in God's hands are still ahead. This is not the end. This is love. This is hope. This is Good Friday.